This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome to the Marc Kapetan Show. This is attorney Marc Kapetan, your host. Today's show is brought to you by the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. We've been serving the Central Valley since 1995. If you or anybody you know has been injured in an auto accident, a truck accident, or a motorcycle accident, call the Kapetan Brothers at 559-498-8000. Or if you've been arrested or cited for a criminal offense, call us 559-498-8000, Kapetan Brothers, 559-498-8000, or the Valley's Law Firm. All right, folks, a very special show once again. I mean, a very sweet special show. When I stepped out into the bright sunlight from the darkness of the movie house, look at my guest already knows what that is. So began the opening scene of one of the most iconic movies in the 1980s. In the decade prior, the book The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton was becoming a modern classic amongst teens of the 70s. Yet it was not on the radar of any movie makers of the day. A movie about socias and greasers struggling to find their identity was not the stuff of blockbuster hits like Rocky II or Alien or James Bond's Moonraker. For our next guest, however, the opening scene for the story of their lives was set in a small town of Sanger at Lone Star School, where the school librarian, urged on by 104 students from Lone Star School, set out to fulfill their dream to turn their favorite book into a movie called The Outsiders. After all, it was a very simple process, right? Let's just send a letter to famed movie director Francis Ford Coppola. I'm sure between The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, he would make a movie for us, right? Well, little did they know that simple act of writing a letter and a petition would save Mr. Coppola's career and kickstart the movie careers of a host of stars, including C. Thomas Howell, Ralph Macchio, Diane Lane, Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, and none other than Tom Cruise, amongst a host of others. 40 plus years has passed, but the actions of these students and that librarian have endured and stood the test of time. I'm ready to cry, Marcella. The Outsiders is a classic, but for my guests and the students of Lone Star School, it has become a source of pride, and it gave many an identity and gave them all the impetus to pursue their dreams, even against all odds, and to strive to stay gold. So please welcome to the Marc Kapetan Show, former librarian of Lone Star School, Joellen Masakian, former student Gina Vertson, and former student Michelle Garugian Ogawa. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Ladies.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Joellen.
Yes.
It's been 40-something years, and you decided to help out these students, but I want to go back just a little bit because the book was written in 1967 by H.E. Hinton. She was a young lady, a 15-year-old girl.
Yep.
Had you read the book when the kids started coming to you about this?
Well, I ordered the book for the library. I was in the library at the time. And when it came, I gave it to the teachers first and overwhelmingly liked it. And then we started passing it out to the kids. And the kids would come to me. You know, boys, this is probably not nice to say, but boys wouldn't read as much as easily as girls. I could talk the girls into picking up a book, but there really were no books for boys at that time.
Well, believe me, this is one boy that didn't read back then either. Yeah. So
nothing to read really. And they loved it once they saw it, once they read it.
Well, and sort of course, because it was talking about 1967 kids in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and talked about the struggles that they had, but it did it in somewhat of a visceral way. It had smoking, drinking, violence, love stories, etc. Was the school, and mind you, it's not like it is now, Joelle, and you remember, those were the times of book burnings by moral majority, etc. So was it controversial at the time for you to encourage these young 7th and 8th graders?
Not at my school, not at all controversial.
Yeah.
My parents were very supportive, and the teachers were very supportive. And the book was just so wonderful that how could they not like it, even though it had all those things in it.
Right.
It was written by a young girl that was in school at the time, and it just seemed to fit with what they were experiencing in a different way.
Right. It had become a classic then amongst teens
No.
at the time, or no? It was a little-known book.
Little known, yeah.
Wow. Had you, Gina, had you read it? I mean, was that the first book that you would pick up, something about these greasers and the greasers and socias, basically?
Well, I read it. Our English teacher, Miss D, read it to the class, and we all had a copy. So that's when I was introduced to the book.
Oh, so it was basically making its round amongst the teachers at the school, and they realized it would connect with you guys too. All
Yes.
right.
Yep.
All right, let me ask you, Michelle and Gina. Michelle, were you a soc or were you a greaser?
I think it depended on what day you asked.
Really?
There was something in the characters on both sides that I could relate to, and I think a lot of us there could relate to, and I think that's what made the story so meaningful to us, is we saw ourselves in those characters.
The struggles of family, whether it's a good family or a bad family. A lot of the roles back then, listen, we had the preppies and the socias, and our greasers would, I guess, be the stoners back in the day. We had the F-14ers, if you wanted to bring in the Mexican group at the time, which was the biggest minority at the time. And so, Gina, are you seeing the same thing where you're seeing that you find yourself being different than others, but yet you may have the same struggles? Is that sort of what the book brings out to you when you read it as a young kid?
I, like Michelle said, we can relate to it. I mean, there was both sides. I think we're part soc and part greasers.
Right.
I mean, I remember when you were talking about they had the F-14ers, they had, the stoners, and then they had the preppies.
Right.
And I guess I would be considered the preppy.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely wasn't that. It was weird because I had to sit and think back of what we referred to all of them. I instantly recognized the term soc, and I instantly recognized the term greaser more because it was a 50s, 60s thing. But there was that sort of classification, and I got to say, in my line of work, I've represented a lot of people from back in those days, and the guy that you thought was going to be the preppy turned out to be a real rough, hard life, and the person that was the quote unquote greaser was the most successful guy there is in the class. Joellen, did any of that relate to you? Did you find that this young 15-year-old girl, S.E. Hinton, was sort of relating to something that you experienced as a kid too?
That's a good question. I didn't look at it that way. I looked at the feelings of each of the characters in the book, and they spoke to me more than the entirety of the book. Each character had a certain part in my life, my heart.
So it spoke to you on a personal basis, not just a matter of, it speaks to me because I know these kids are going to relate to it. It's a timeless thing that relates to everybody, all teens, basically.
Exactly. And you could tell by the kids coming back and saying, "Oh, Mrs. Misaki, I love that book. You got another one for me?" But
right.
I didn't.
And not one that related like that.
No, I had Durango Street, which was another good one about gangs in L.A., which they would have liked, but not like The Outsiders.
Believe me, I'm sure there's a movie maker right now that would probably turn that into a film. Do you remember the first person who came to you and said, this should be a movie?
Yes. Teacher, one of the teachers, Peggy Thompson.
Oh, really?
She brought it back to me and said, this would make a great movie.
And so how did that idea, and we're going to go to a break here pretty soon, how did that idea start getting around amongst you and the students that we're really going to try to do this?
Well, it just kind of passed in a conversation, so it wasn't outstanding, but it played on my mind. And so I was looking for ways to get the kids to come to the library, right?
Right.
And so two of the students, Christy Uramian and Esmeralda Martinez, were together in the library. And I said, okay, guys, what would it take for the kids to, how could we promote this to the kids? And we worked out the idea of sending a petition to Francis Coppola. So it was really just a stunt to
try to get the kids to read the book.
Right.
And it just went on from there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We're going to be right back with Joellen Masakian, Gina Vertzen, and Michelle Garugian Ogawa. Right after this. This is the Marc Kapetan Show on KMJ. This is the impetus of the Outsiders movie. We'll be right back after this. This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome back to the Marc Kapetan Show. Hey, folks, if you have missed part of this show, great show, by the way, today. If you've missed part of this show, you could go to the KMJ app or to KMJNow.com, and you could go look up the podcast. Or if you want to refer it to a friend or share it with somebody, go to the KMJ podcast, and you could get today's show and all the shows that are on KMJ. Also, Marc Kapetan Show streams on Facebook. We stream on YouTube, right, Marcella? We have an Instagram account. Go to the Marc Kapetan Show. Like us and subscribe. Joellen, the kids say smash that like button. Have you heard that?
No.
Joellen has been out of teaching for a while. Joellen Masakian, she was the former librarian at Lone Star School. We're here with her, and Joellen, it's called Smash That Like Button. Like and subscribe. That's all that newfangled talk. I don't even know it, hon. So we're here with her and Gina Vertzen and Michelle Ogawa. They are former students and used to go read books at the library at Lone Star School. And one of those books was The Outsider that Joellen and 104 of the students there at Lone Star, I think I got the number right, 104 of the students, wrote a letter and signed a petition to make The Outsiders the classic movie that it became. Now, Joellen, you were talking in the last segment how one of the teachers may have given the initial suggestion, but it was more just to have the students come and read the book. It was not even considered that it was going to be successful. But at some point, the students kept urging you on, huh?
Well, not really.
Okay. the truth comes out. Okay.
Well, urging me on in that they all liked the book.
Okay.
Everybody that read it came back and wanted another book just like it. So in that case, they were urging.
Yeah, but okay, so then did you just want to meet Francis Ford Coppola yourself? How did this thing start taking shape?
Well, I chose him because I opened up one of my Newsweek magazines, and periodicals, and in there was a full-page ad talking about Francis Ford Coppola making the Black Stallion, which was another book, into a movie. And they said in the promo that he stuck really close to the book, and that's what we wanted. Oh. So I put it together, the petition and a letter, and picked up a paperback book and put it and sent it to his New York office, which is what the public library, that's the address they gave me for him. And they told me later, had I sent it to his Hollywood studio, he would never have seen it.
Yeah, I was reading up on it. He basically happened to be in New York. There was a very little business stuff that he used to do there, and he basically saw this letter and said, "Hey, gee, what a cute letter." Passed it off to his right-hand guy, Fred Roos. And basically said, "Read this for me." And of course, being the great assistant that he was, he said, "I didn't read it for many, many weeks because I wasn't interested in some young kid's book." Basically,
he said, "I had no intention of reading that book," but he said, "I got stuck on plane flight from East Coast to West Coast,
Right.
and I had nothing to read. He was a reader, right? So he didn't have anything to read, so he picked up that book, and he said about the third or fourth chapter, I said, the kids have something.
Really? So you kids over there, Gina and Michelle, do you remember what number you were on the petition, by the way?
51.
And Michelle?
19.
19. Yeah, I saw in one of the articles that you guys actually remembered your numbers. It's become a source of pride for you guys.
It really has.
Do you use it on your baseball uniforms and all that kind of stuff? Is it part of your bank code or something like that?
Not quite, but when we're together as a group, and we've had other experiences where we've all been together,
Yeah.
it becomes kind of our moniker, or
So you call Gina 51, basically?
I haven't called her 51, but I might start doing that now that you mention it.
That is really, you know what? Oh, baseball hats with little numbers when you do this little event. You got an event coming up, Gina, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, tell us about the event.
The event is going to be on Saturday, September 13th at 6 o'clock at Fresno High School. And the stars of the cast of The Outsiders movie will be attending at Fresno High. So anyone that comes will get to meet the stars. We also have a screening that's going to be happening. So it's going to be a meet and greet, Q&A, and the screening of the movie.
Of the movie. Okay. So it's September, you said again?
13th.
September 13th.
So Saturday, September
Okay.
13th.
At Fresno High, right?
At Fresno High.
Okay. All right. So you guys are now kids. You guys have all signed this petition. You're 51, you're
19.
19. Okay. Did you guys realize it was a long shot, or were you guys just going around the school saying, oh, by the way, we're going to have a movie made?
We were just kids, so we were middle schoolers on our way to high school.
Yeah.
And we kind of, in between, didn't think much of it. But then Joellen kept us apprised through letters and with our family. And then came and did we were in high school by this time, came in with Mr. Kirchner, our principal, and did was it an assembly, or what would you call it, announcement?
It was an assembly of just you, the kids from Lone Star.
So basically about 2 years later, it's now 1983 or so, you have this secret basically, and you're going to go in front of these students and you're going to make this announcement. None of you kids knew about it?
I think.
It was I got the letter in the summertime.
Yeah.
And no one was there. The school was deserted. So I called the principal right away, and of course he got really excited, and that's when we started planning.
So had you had any contact back from them, or was this the first letter?
The first letter came from Fred Roos and said we're going to make the movie.
Basically, he was the assistant producer or whatever of the Francis Ford Coppola movies for Zoetrope, and basically wrote you a letter saying 2 years ago we received this letter from you, and by the way, we're going to do it?
No, he wrote me the letter that summer that I sent it.
Okay.
And then it took 2 years for them to make the movie,
Okay.
which I understand is unheard of. They just don't make a movie that quickly.
Yeah, and for the budget that they had, which
Yeah.
was I think $10 million. So you get this letter during the summer. Do you tell anybody, or do you wait for the school year to start to go make the announcement in front of the kids?
Well, one of the things that they wanted me to do, they wanted permission from the parents of all those that had signed the petition, because originally they wanted to put the petition at the end of the movie and
Right.
show. So I spent the summer calling parents.
Oh, getting permission from all those parents?
And then they decided not to use it. So
Yeah, we're going to have a picture up on the Kapetan Brothers website so you could take a look at the petition. It's a stunning thing. What was the process thereafter? Did they ever interview any of you guys as far as what really connected in the movie, or was it out of your hands at that point?
Well, they sent us a script, the
Really?
original script. Fred Roos sent me the script and said, would you like to make comments on this? And so I had one of the reading teachers agreed to let her reading class read the book as
a script.
Yeah. And we're sitting there and we said, we don't like this script.
No kidding. So you had to call.
Yeah, it was like turned into a Western, and it was not a Western. But,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They turned it into a Western.
So I took the script down to Fred Roos and I said, we don't like it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Did you get any editing credits or anything?
No, and you know what? I got enough from it. I didn't need anything else.
I know that, but I have one question from a listener named Carmen down in Cabo who said, please tell me they got some sort of money or credits for this. So we're going to be right back with Joel and Masakian, Gina Vertzen and Michelle Ogawa from Lone Star School and the impetus of the movie The Outsiders. We'll be right back after this. This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome back to the Marc Kapetan Show. Folks, I'm going to get right back into it because I'm having a great time with this wonderful story with Joellen Masakian, who is the former librarian of Lone Star School. Also, Gina Vertzen and Michelle Ogawa, who were former students at the Lone Star School in Sanger. It was was it elementary or just 7th and 8th grade?
K-8.
K through 8th grade school. And they decided, after reading the book The Outsider, librarian Joellen Masakian and the kids decided to write a letter and a petition to none other than Francis Ford Coppola, who, by the way, his company was almost in financial ruin. I heard they went to the author and she asked for $5,000 as an advance, and they said, well, we can only afford to pay you $500. So it's my understanding, you guys, this movie alone may have saved his career. Did he express that? You just went to a award ceremony where did you present the award to him, Joellen, or did you?
No, I just said, stay gold, Francis.
Stay gold, yeah.
I threw him a kiss. He didn't know I was coming.
Oh, really?
He didn't know I was there. And when I stood up and I saw his expression, he couldn't figure it out for a minute.
Did you get the sense that not only did you give him a good idea for a movie, but you really, really did something spectacular for not only these kids and the movie watching world, but also for him?
Not really. My communication was with Fred Roos and Lucy Fisher. And
I see.
They were absolutely wonderful, weren't they, girls? When they came to Lone Star, they broke all the ideas we had of what Hollywood was like and what those people were like. They were just wonderful people.
Really? I understand. So being the producer, he has to do all the advance work and stuff, and Coppola being the director may have had less touch with you guys. But it's so eventually the film starts getting. By the way, you understand, guys, that this story also is a movie in and of itself. As I was in the commercial, I thought, oh my gosh, it's the fact that this actually occurred is a 1 in a million chance. Mm-hmm. And to have a story about kids at this school thinking that this book would be a great movie is a movie in and of itself. Are you guys ready to call again and say, hey, let's do another petition?
It's been interesting that over the years, whenever there's an anniversary of the film or something, there's been so much interest in our story. We've had a gentleman from France come to meet with us and do an article for a publication. They've done news clips. So the story has just lived on and continues kind of to have a life of its own. Right.
It's interesting that the book lives on because it connects with so many people. But just the story of triumph against all odds is like you said, just carries on throughout time. Also, eventually the movie gets made. And they say we're going to do basically a premiere or a preview. Was it just for the kids who were on the petition?
No,
it was opened up to the entire school and the administrators at the district level. And all of a sudden, I sat down there, and the movie was getting ready to start, and I thought, oh my gosh, I have no idea what's in this movie.
That's right, because you didn't know how good it was going to come out.
And I was really, really worried about it.
They bring a bunch of the stars, Gina. We know who Michelle's favorite was. Sorry, Mr. Ogawa, but so Patrick Swayze. Gina, impressed by any of these young futures superstars?
I think they've all been amazing, and throughout the years, their careers have just exploded,
Yeah.
and it's fun to see that this is where they started. And Ralph Macchio? He says, he said, we were nobodies and Francis made us somebodies. And I think that was pretty amazing when he said that.
Well, and what is interesting more so to that is they were nobodies, and you kids made them somebodies. And he may have had them in line for other movies, maybe, but to have them cast in this movie, Ralph Macchio as Johnny, and C. Thomas Howell is Pony Boy, which is a great name that, just would attract the kids. If it weren't for you guys, the likelihood is that at least a significant majority of those guys wouldn't have this career, because the movie just became an instant hit. Did you have any interaction with them when they came over to Sanger to do this preview?
Yes. Yeah. We went back to our old middle school, Lone Star, and we met them, and they had we got to go in the cafeteria, and they were presented with little gifts, from the students.
Oh, that's cute.
And then we were able to talk to the stars, get autographs with the posters, and the Today Show came, and all the media stations were there, and we were interviewed, and it was pretty exciting.
You were interviewed by the Today Show?
Yes, except my part was cut.
Oh, hey, I was on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and most of mine was cut, thank God, because I think, not Oprah Winfrey, Dr. Phil Show, so thank God, because it was a rough interview. So, okay, let me ask you this now. So you're doing this, you make these guys stars and stuff. I saw one of you, and I think it was Michelle, that you referred to C. Thomas Howell as Tommy. Is there been, or maybe it was Eugenia, has there been any contact throughout the years with these guys, and have they, same thing with, like I asked Joe Ellen with Francis Ford Coppola, do they recognize the significance you guys had in their lives?
Yes, they do. I've had contact with Tommy this year, and he loved the book, and that part that he played so much, he identifies with Pony Boy, that he decided to make a foundation for literacy called the Stay Gold Foundation, and to carry on, because like Mrs. Masakian said, putting those books in the students' hands are so important,
right,
and getting them engaged. And I've had students that do not like reading, and you put The Outsider's book in their hands and you turned them on, and they didn't read it just once, they read it twice.
Right.
And then they wanted to see the movie. So it's pretty exciting to see that happening, and the students light up and they can identify with everyone in the book. And the book is timeless.
Yeah.
No matter how old we get, it still relates to all of us.
I want to talk about your guys' teaching careers too, because that is a beautiful part of it too. Real quick though, when you guys saw the movie, because I know a lot of people say, listen, we watch these movies and it just doesn't hold up to what the book had. Did it hold up for you guys? Did it have as much meaning as the book had for you guys?
Absolutely. It was very, as Joellen wished, it was very close to the story. It stayed very true to the story, and we were very excited.
Big cheers at the end.
Very big cheers,
very big,
with Joellen and the Lone Star students caption at the very end. When the credits were rolling, you couldn't hear a thing in that.
There has to be a sense, we got to go to a break, but there has to be a sense of accomplishment where we could tackle anything in this world after something like that, right?
I encourage my students all the time, if we can make this happen, you can make anything happen.
Absolutely. We are on with Joellen Masakian, Gina Vertson, and Michelle Ogawa from Lone Star School and The Outsiders. We'll be right back after this. This is the Marc Kapetan Show. This is KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome back to the Marc Kapetan Show. Today's show is sponsored by the Stay Gold Foundation. No, I'm teasing you, folks. We are, listen, there is an event coming up on September 13th at Fresno High that you guys don't want to miss. It is the reunion and the re-showing and the reliving of The Outsiders movie, the classic movie from 1983, done by Francis Ford Coppola. We are on today with Joellen Masakian, Gina Vertzen, and Michelle Ogawa, who were all part of the Lone Star School back in the day, who gave the impetus to Francis Ford Coppola to make this great movie, The Outsiders. So the Stay Gold Foundation is a foundation by C. Thomas Howell, and on September 13th at Fresno High, there's going to be an event. Tickets are available on KMJ, their webpage. We're going to have it on the Kapetan Brothers webpage. Tickets to the event to go see the showing of the Outsiders, the original movie, and also cast members from the original movie will be there. In fact, a significant number of the cast members from, including C. Thomas Howell. All of the proceeds are to benefit the Stay Gold Foundation, which is C. Thomas Howell's foundation for literacy. Speaking of which, Gina Vertzen and Michelle Ogawa, the former students at Lone Star School, and also Joellen Masakian, the former librarian, who are part of this whole push to make the movie The Outsiders way back in the 80s. Gina and Michelle, you guys, as a result, in talking about staying true, staying gold, staying pure, basically, became teachers yourselves. So this has significant meaning to you, Gina, right?
Oh, yes. I teach high school, and my students are living just like, the characters in the book. And
literally, you teach where?
I teach at Farber Educational Campus,
which is part of the juvenile justice system, right?
It's actually credit recovery. It's located on Cesar Chavez. It used to be, Michelle used to teach there. It used to be Juvenile Hall.
Right.
And they mowed it down.
Oh, yeah.
And they built Farber Educational Campus, and this is our first year there in our building.
Yeah,
so
I used to go there a lot, Michelle. Yeah. The significant part of it is these kids really do relate because many of them have had very rough lives. And so part of your curriculum in teaching these kids is, hey, this is a book that I know is going to connect with you, and if you stay gold, the significance of maybe C. Thomas Howell's hair being dyed, blonde. I don't know if that was part of it or not, but if you stay gold, then you could accomplish things against all odds.
I always tell them never give up. And one time I had one of my former students actually make a Stay Gold bulletin board.
Beautiful.
And so all their because I teach English, they would write about what their dreams and goals were, and we would put it on the board that said Stay Gold.
Yeah. I mean, anything to touch these kids' lives and hopefully make a difference and make a change for them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Michelle, you took it even a step further than that because you say, I have the honor of following in the footsteps of one of my greatest inspirations and mentors. Who was that, Joellen?
I wouldn't know.
Joellen.
It's Joellen Masakian. Did you know that? She said that?
Yeah, she's just wonderful.
Because Michelle, you became not only a teacher, you became a librarian, just like Joellen here.
Absolutely. I get emotional just thinking about it.
I could see it, right.
She's just been a very inspirational and influential person in my life. And many of our teachers at Lone Star as well were so caring and made us feel seen and heard, and just what you've heard Joellen talk about. It was always about the kids.
Right.
She was always about the kids, and she did this for the kids. And so, just wanting to be like those people that I looked up to in my life. And so she was the director at Fresno Pacific University for the teacher librarian program. And we connected, and the next thing I knew, I was in graduate school getting my teacher librarian services credential.
Joellen, I mean, a simple question. How does something like that make you feel? You have this book that you were hoping was going to touch the lives of all these kids, and you have no idea how you've touched the lives of just so many kids.
No, I know. And when Michelle talks, I want to cry.
Believe me, I'm choking back right now. So, yeah, I definitely wasn't the greaser.
I have been blessed. We had the best students in the world there at Lone Star. We were a K through 8 school, 325 students total.
Right.
So in the 7th and 8th grade, there were, 80, maybe, or 120 or so. Anyway, very small school. So we knew every child, every student. We knew what they couldn't get in trouble, because if they did, we know who did it.
Very true.
You can't do that these days.
But we didn't have any trouble at all with them. They were just wonderful students.
Listen, and you placing it on the students is a beautiful way of saying it, but obviously it's through the dedication of people like you and the other teachers there at Lone Star that made them the kids that they are. Both you and Michelle, Gina, have said that everything has come full circle in 2 separate quotes that I see. You actually contacted Miss Masaki and Joellen here a little while ago and said, listen, I want to, it's made such an impact that I want to get C. Thomas Howell over here, and I want to, have this event happen. You said you took her to the school, your school, and the kids reacted how?
She was our guest speaker, and they wanted her autograph. And she said, well, no, I'm not the author or one of the stars. And they said, yes, you are.
Yeah, she's the star from Lone Star. Yes, absolutely. That's too fun.
That was cute.
That's beautiful.
Very cute.
She wrote our story, that's for sure.
Well, it's neat that, yes, you did literally shape their lives and wrote their story. Yeah. And it's so touching that it's related to a book that's the whole purpose of the book. Has the teen experience changed? What do you find a difference between when you guys went to school and now what you guys are teaching yourselves? Is it the same, or is it just a lot rougher for these kids?
I think it's harder for the kids. The world today, the things they go through. But honestly, a lot of the things that happened in the book and in the movie happen to them now. Yeah. Being raised by a single parent, or not having a parent present and having an older brother take care of their younger siblings. It's very, very common. And so that's why I think it touches so many people, and they can relate to even now.
Social media doesn't help out, right, Michelle?
That's right.
Yeah, doesn't help out.
Right.
Oh, one of the things I think you just made me think of is C. Thomas Howell gives a message in the foundation, and he said students back then knew a beginning, a middle, and end when they were reading, and now they only know a middle, and they swipe up on TikTok.
I heard it say after 3 to 5 seconds they're going to swipe up. Yeah, basically.
Right.
It's funny because that was the last question that I wanted to ask you. The simple advice to these young kids, Joellen, is to sit there, put away all the nonsense electronics, and maybe just pick up a simple book like The Outsiders and read it?
That's right. Just read. I had an author visit one time, and he told the kids, if you read 10 books during the summer, you'll do better in class next year.
Well, how about if you read 10 books throughout your whole lifetime, will I do okay?
You might make it.
Take the advice of Joellen Masakian, Gina Vertson, and Michelle Ogawa from Lone Star School, and basically the whole reason why you guys could see the great movie like The Outsiders. We will see you guys on September 13th at Fresno High for the reunion of all the actors of The Outsiders in the show. And so thanks, guys, for being on the show.
Thank you.
Congratulations for all your success.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next week on the Marc Kapetan Show. Thanks to my wonderful, lovely producer, Marcella Solorio Taylor. See you next week.